Let us continue from yesterday's sugya. Yesterday we're in the middle of the sugya of the dinim of Brachos hareach, and we left off. We basically discussed two choshev inyanim. Inyan number one was the idea of regular fruits, hanoisen reach toiv bepeiros, right? The halacha of taking an apple or an orange or whatever it may be and making a bracha on it. We saw Machlokes Mishnah Berurah and the Chazon Ish about that, and we ended off with the sugya of freshly baked bread, whether or not we make a bracha on freshly baked bread, or whether we're allowed to even smell freshly baked bread. And included in that is what the Aruch HaShulchan told us, which is the inyan of a food like cholent or like a chicken soup or something similar to that. If it has a nice smell, are we even allowed to open up the lid and take it off? Okay, so that was yesterday. Let's move on now to the inyan of coffee. So the Mishnah Berurah in Reish Tazayin brings down that if a person smells coffee, he makes a bracha shenoisen reach toiv bepeiros. Okay, you take coffee and you smell it. Obviously, we're talking about you pick it up bekavona in order to smell. The Mishnah Berurah paskins that you make a bracha noisen reich toiv bepeiros. That is what the Mishnah Berurah says. However, comes along Dayan Fisher Zatzal, and Dayan Fisher says there is a slight difference between the coffee in the time of the Chofetz Chaim's days and the coffee of nowadays. Now this is very true because I don't know when the last time any of you called up some of the coffee people, the manufacturers that make coffee, but I've done this. It's very, very hard. I did it once for Hilchos Shabbos. It's very hard to find out how lemaisa do they make coffee. Now, it's a big nafkamina when you learn, for example, Orach Chaim Semishin Yudches, and you learn the halachas of bishul. You want to know, can you make coffee nikli shlishi? Can you have to make it nikli revi? Are there certain coffees that are also even to make on Shabbos because they haven't finished? That's the latest coffees they make nowadays. Is that they haven't fully finished the process of the not the roasting of the brewing, right? That's what it's called. They haven't finished the cooking process of the coffee, and they want that what? Not the roasting. No, they've done the roasting. The question is they haven't finished off the last process because they want that to happen in your cup. Therefore, the coffee is a better coffee. Instant coffee I'm talking about, yeah, instant coffee. They want the last process to be finished in your cup. So the shayla is how they do it. Do they do the roasting first and then they do the cooking? Do they do the cooking first and the roasting? It will be a nafkamina, for example, whether we do bishal achatzliach bishal, all those sugars over there. So when you call up the coffee manufacturers, it's very hard to find out what they do. But Dayan Fisher said lamaisa, all of our coffees are roasted, and therefore, right, whether they're cooked afterwards or cooked before is irrelevant for Hilchos Brachos, because once they're roasted, zuk Dayan Fisher lamaisa. Therefore, there's no real hana with the actual regular hanoisen reich toiv bepeiros. It's changed. There's the shinoi. Mimele zuk Dayan Fisher. What bracha do you make on coffee? I'm sure everybody knows this. What bracha when you make when you smell coffee? Nothing. Hello? You drink it, you don't smell it. That's beautiful. You know what I'm talking about. You open up the fresh. Geschmack. What bracha do you make? No, what does everyone do? I'm saying, we have a coffee place over here, what does everyone do? Brachos daf hey, beautiful. Gewaldig. The Maisa, Zog Dayan Fisher make Boire Minei Besomim. That's what you make on coffee. That's what you make on coffee, Boire Minei Besomim, because it's been changed, it's been roasted. It's not the regular in this case. The only thing is that when you open up the Kaf HaChaim, as you do on Simon Reish Tazayin, you open up the Kaf HaChaim. Back you know the Shulchan Aruch without opening up the Kaf HaChaim, right? So open up the Kaf HaChaim, and the Kaf HaChaim wants to taina that our coffee is like pas chama. It's like hot bread. What do we do with hot bread? I don't know. It's stuck because we have a Ramah that tells us yesh omim you make a bracha, yesh omim you don't make a bracha. We're stuck in the middle. Mi yachnis roshei beina harim, lashon of the Rosh. So what do you do? What do you do in such a situation? Zuk the Kaf HaChaim lefize. It could be that you shouldn't make a bracha on it because we don't know what to do. And we have the Chazon Ish that holds you don't make a bracha on anything that's not made for the smell. That's the Shittas Chazon Ish that we already explained yesterday. Mimela lefize that could come out. That's why the minhag olam, I think, lefi what we asked a minute ago, is not to make a bracha when you smell coffee. Because we have a problem. We have the Chazon Ish, we have a Kaf HaChaim, which is doimet to pas chama. And if that's the case, by the way, I want to add to that. If the Kaf HaChaim is telling us that coffee nowadays is like hot bread, and the Ramah says by hot bread what? You shouldn't smell it, Ben. Beautiful. Mimele it would come out that you shouldn't lechatchila take a jar of fresh coffee, instant coffee, open up and put it to your nose. Because then you have a sofik bracha to make. Should you make a bracha? Should you not make a bracha? So just don't do it. I'm not talking about when you walk past a coffee place and the oilam are opening coffee and you smell it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you pick it up, al das the smell, you shouldn't do that. Yeah?
Are you want to make a bracha on the smell of coffee if it's ready-made coffee?
I mean real coffee. No, not ready-made. I'm talking about the granules. So then it's already got the whole, then it's got like it's like a tafshel already. So you shouldn't do that. Now, Kaponim Rabbi say, it comes out, okay, I want to make this quite clear, that it's a huge machlokes what we do when it comes to coffee, especially our instant coffee which is ground and it's roasted. Therefore, lechatchila, don't smell coffee. Because you have a problem. The minhag ha'olam is, even if you do, you don't make a bracha. And the reason for that is because we have tzirufim of the Chazon Ish, and we have the Kaf HaChaim and everyone else. But again, if you'd call up the Chofetz Chaim and say, Rebbe, the Heilige Rada Neruv, what bracha should I make on coffee? So he would say, and doesn't pay the payments, but Dayan Fisher would say, since nowadays it's roasted, then it's Borei Minei B'Somim. Let's move on. By the way, moving on, and we asked this, I think, at the end of the shir yesterday. What if you walk into Starbucks? So if you walk into Starbucks, they specifically have, I'm not talking about artificial sprays, we'll get to artificial sprays in a moment, where they spray it, stuff that you should smell it. I'm talking about real coffee going on, just so you should smell it, just so you should get a taiva, and then you're going to go and want to go and buy a coffee. So in that case, over here, since a...
smells on all food store?
What's that?
You should have the taiva to eat them?
Again, that would do a Rebbeinu Shalom does. That's why we make a bracha on fruits, 100%. That's what we said yesterday. But we're talking about where the owner of the store puts in a spray of real stuff, not artificial stuff. Huh? No, we'll talk about artificial sprays, which are fake. I'm talking about now real, right? They're actually spraying, let's say, a coffee smell. Like I think Rabbi Rothstein said yesterday, there's a certain bakery. Which bakery is it? Angel Bakery. They dafka turn the vent of the bakery, of the oven, so when it goes into the shop, you walk in, wow, it's a zah smell. It dafka smells dafka, and it's real. So they do it with dafka. I'm not talking about artificial, we spoke about, that was the shayla we ended off with yesterday, someone that has a bakery in a shtibel, and he puts an artificial automatic spray of bakery goods. So when you walk in the area, you smell freshly baked cookies, and it's like, oh, geschmack. It's actually fake. That we'll get to. But Al Kaponim, is that Gnevis Das, right? That was the shayla. It's not Gnevis Das. But Al Kaponim, when it comes to Starbucks, so it could be, even if you're not taking the coffee, al manas the smell, since the person is putting it there so that you will smell it, and it's a real smell, it could be, it's like walking in, what the Shulchan Aruch talks about, walking into a flower store, and they're there in order to make the smell, that you're going to have to make a bracha when you walk into the store, even though you didn't take it al manas to do that. But like I said, anyway, nowadays the coffee that they're spraying is probably roasted. You have the sofik, you have the Chazon Ish, you have many tzirufim, and the minhag ha'olam, as far as I know, is not to walk in, right? Is that true? Nobody walks into a Starbucks and says, one minute, Gartel, hold on a second. You walk inside, Baruch. I never saw that before, right? You did? I didn't see that. I don't know. We didn't see that. I didn't see Starbucks. For sure, not the Gartel, no. For sure, yeah, the Gartel. The shayla is if they make the bracha or not. It's a different shayla. Huh? That's not true. Yeah. By the way, Rabbi said, major disclaimer, because Tony Tam are going to be very upset with me. Yitzi knows exactly what I'm about to say. I am not saying Starbucks is kosher. I have no idea. I don't know. Flavors, no flavors. I don't know. All of a sudden I'm going to have you're allowed to go to Starbucks. I didn't know this. Everyone's running over to Starbucks. I don't know. I have no idea anything about Starbucks. In America it's kosher, no? In America it's OU, right? No. Okay, moving on to Rabbi Say. Flowers. What is the din with flowers? What's the halacha? You come home and you want to buy your wife Erev Shabbos Kodesh a nice bunch of flowers like the covered Shabbos Kodesh, the covered the Shalom Bayis, and before you do that, you want to give it a good smell. It smells geschmack. You want to make sure it smells nice. What's the halacha? So Shulchan Aruch is very clear that the bracha you make is Borei Atzei B'Somim. Atzei B'Somim is anything that grows on a stick, almost like a mini tree. You make a Borei Atzei B'Somim in that case. However, that is only if you take it al manas to smell it. Stam, you smell it, that's not a thing. But if you take the flower to your nose, al das to smell it, then even if it's not avida de reich lemaisa, since you took it in your hand in order to smell, if it has a nice smell, then it does require a bracha. Remember, the Chazon Ish always holds that you don't make a bracha on these things. Zuk the Chazon Ish, if it's not made for the smell, which it's not for, therefore, according to Chazon Ish, never make a bracha. But according to Mishnah Berurah, if you take a flower to your nose in order to smell, and it has a nice smell, the halacha is, and again, I do imagine there are many people out there that do this, that don't know this halacha, and unfortunately, they're being nene ma'olim hazeh b'loi bracha, which the Gemara Brachos tells us is a terrible, terrible thing, and therefore you have to make a bracha borei atzei somim. That's if you smell it with your hand, putting it to your nose. If you walk into the flower store, what's the din? So the general din is that since flowers are not made avid l'reich, they're not made for their smell, they're made for the look, and therefore, if that's the case, if you don't put it to your nose, you do not have to make a bracha in that case. And not only that, Rav Shaimek Zatzal held also as well that all our flowers are not made almanas to smell, and the owner of the store doesn't put them there in order for you to smell them. I don't know anyone that walks into a flower shop, smells the flowers, and says, "Oh, I need to buy a bunch of flowers," because the whole reason you went into the flower shop to begin with was in order to buy the flowers. I can't see any other reason why you go into a flower shop, and therefore if you're going in there, it means you're going to buy one. The smell's not going to help you anyway. So if that's the case, anyway, you will not have to make a bracha when you do that. Okay, unlike the Shulchan Aruch's case when you walk into a shop of spices, where they put the spices specifically there in order to make it smell so that you'll get tempted to buy it. That's very different. Let's move on, Rabbi Sai. What happens by deodorant, air fresheners, all of these things, perfumes, aftershaves, all of these things? Again, I am not saying any of these things are okay or not okay. We're all familiar with the Gemara. We're not going into it now. But upon him, those people that have these things, or if you walk past duty free, because sometimes they make you dafka walk through duty free in order to get to your flight, you have no other eitzah. So what can you do? You have to walk through. And sometimes, it smells. So what do you do? So the Shulchan Aruch says in Si Beis and Semen Reshit Zayin, Shulchan Aruch says clearly you do not make a bracha on any besomim in the bathroom. Why? Not because it's in the bathroom, because you could be standing outside the bathroom. It's the same halacha. The reason is because any smell that is placed there in order to remove a bad smell is not considered to be a good smell that you would make a bracha on it. Therefore, for example, in a hotel, you walk into a hotel and you have an air freshener like automatically being sprayed every so often, apart from the fact, which we'll get to, that it's artificial, but also they're putting it there to remove the bad smell of so many people being there, and therefore the halacha is that 100% you don't make a bracha on that. Included in that is, of course, most of the stuff that we have is actually fake. That means most of the stuff we have is synthetic. It's not real, and if it's not real, anyway, you wouldn't make a bracha in that case because it's not real. An esrog, by the way, on the Yontiv of Sukkot is a machlokes between the Avi Ezra and Rabbeinu Simcha. If we make a bracha on an esrog during Yontiv of Sukkot, the Shulchan Aruch says in Reish Tezayin Sif Yudalet. By the way, most people make this mistake and don't know the Shulchan Aruch, so note this down in your phone for next year for Mitzvah Shem Sukkot, where the Shulchan Aruch says halacha l'maisa, don't smell it, because it's a machlokes. We're talking about an esrog on Yontiv or an esrog that you buy for Yontiv, because it's hooked to the mitzvasai, and therefore not for the smell. There are other reasons why the Gemara in Sukkah goes through whether or not we're worried about gzeiras, but on Kapani we should not be smelling an esrog bechlal, unless it's Shaloi b'shas mitzvah maybe, and then you would make a bracha in that case. Another couple of shilas before we have to finish is when it comes to a tea bag. For example, you have a tea bag that's a mint tea bag. I'm talking about real mint tea bag, not a fake synthetic. Real mint tea, or what they have? Twinings. Twining. Is that a make? Am I giving free advertising right now? PG tips. No, but that's not. I'm not mint, fruit, whatever. But it's real in that case. The halacha is you do not make a bracha in that case because it's absorbed into something else. The mamoshas of the actual mint are not there. It's been absorbed into the tea leaves, and therefore it's okay. It's a similar shaila, and they don't do it anymore. But I remember, I'm sure there's many people here that do remember, when you got an esrog, you didn't get an esrog in this, this like white, like cage-looking thing. You got, remember the flax that used to turn around and around and around, and it got a smell. What's that? No, but it got a smell of the esrog. Afterwards, it started to smell nice. But it's absorbed, and once it's absorbed, there's no shiloh whatsoever. Tabak, snuff, that is smelling nice, right? They have tabak that smells nice. By the way, most people make this mistake on Yom Kippur, and they smell it. First, they make a bracha on it, that's a different shiloh. Also, they make a bracha many times during Yom Kippurim, which is such a chabal. To make a bracha levatala on Yom Kippur, Shem Yirachim. There's a toivel v'sheretz biyadeh, Shem Yirachim. So therefore, you have to know to be careful how many times to make a bracha. If there was a hesach hadas between bracha number 1 and bracha number 2, if you can make a bracha on it. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about things that you can make a bracha on during Yom Kippur. People pass them around, and then pass them around, and then pass them around, and they end up not having a hesach hadas. You can't make another bracha if I'm still holding in the first bracha. There has to be a hesach hadas in between. Rabbi Hager, you with me? I didn't say that. If you make a bracha, you have to know when you can make the next bracha. Right? That has to be a break in the middle. You go out of shul, you come back in a chanami. But stam to pass it around, people make this mistake all the time in Yom Kippur. It's a chabal, right? You have to know. You can pass it around in the morning, maybe again in the afternoon, or the night before, whatever. Then we're not getting into that. Al-Kapanim, tabak and snuff, lemaisa. Anyway, first of all, most of it is synthetic, and even if it's there, it's to put in order to cancel out the bad smell. So therefore, it's put in there to cancel out the bad smell. That's what we mentioned already previously before that, and therefore that's why most aftershaves and perfumes are not really included in this, and therefore most of them are synthetic anyway. And therefore it's not negeya, and if they are real, they're absorbed in your clothing or in your guf, and therefore the mamoshes is not there. You would not make a bracha on that anyway. Rabbi say, let me end with the Moedik B'nei Sascha, where the B'nei Sascha brings down like this. The Gemara says, and we mentioned this yesterday, Kol neshama tahalal kol. The Gemara asked the kasha. How do we know that you make a bracha on actual smells? The Gemara. How do you know you make a bracha on a smell? So the Gemara says, because we have a pasuk to tell us that. Right? What is the only thing that neshama gets from it gets from a smell? That's what the Gemara said. Frek the B'nei Yisrael, I don't understand the Havamina in the Gemara. What's the Havamina in the Gemara? The Gemara tells us it's also to be smelling as a type of hana. So why would the Gemara say I need a special heta to make a bracha on a smell? I don't need a special heta to make a bracha on a food or on anything else that I have. If you have hana, you make a bracha. What's the Havamina Frek the B'nei Yisrael? Why the Gemara says how you have to make a bracha on a smell. Zuk the B'nei Yisrael, this is beautiful. It's a Maimin Chodesh Sivan Maimin Daladois Ches. Look it up. He says that when Adam Harishon did the Chet, the first Aveira, so what happened was Ra and Toiv were mixed together. Good and bad were mixed together, as I state. And therefore our job in this world is to separate Ra and Toiv. That's our pu'ula, that's our avodah in this world. However, it's impossible to be in this world without eating and drinking. You cannot live in this world without eating and drinking. And on that, all brachos are masakin. And by making a bracha on the food, you are removing or taking out. You're being mitzi the toiv from whatever chelik of ra that could be in that thing. Zuk the b'nei saska. By the chet harishon, by the first aveira, what senses were in that time were present? You had this feel, see, hear, and speech. Right? Shulchan Aruch Harav, by the way, Balatanya says a similar idea also. The only sense that was not present at the time of the very first Aveira of Adam Harishon was the sense of reich, of smell, which means reich was the only sense not to have a pegam from the chet of Adam Harishon. Mimela zuk the b'nei Sascha. Now I understand the Havamina in the Gemara that it shouldn't require a bracha because the whole yesod of a bracha is to be mitzi, to take out the toiv from that which could be ra inside. The made by reach, I don't have the ra, and therefore could be I don't have to go make a bracha on that. And then from that we say that your neshama taka gets hana from it, and the made make a bracha in that case. Be'ez Hashem tomorrow, new topic. Have a wonderful day.